mean, what an incredible audience. Thank you. And everybody for dialing in today. Thank you so much. And really thank you to Brand South Africa and of course to the African Leadership Magazine. Really thank you so much. What a fantastic organization, and the professionalism has been phenomenal. Technology is not always easy to spread around Africa and right throughout the world, but it's been fantastic. So really thank you to the leaders today for making this all come together, and of course the two DGs that we've had the privilege of joining us today. And really about authentic leadership. This is about you. This is about you and the role that you play in society. And I think we are all so incredibly blessed to have had a leader like Madiba that has guided us. You know, some people say, oh, but it's old. You know, still to this day, I live by the leadership of what Madiba taught me. And really, as a leader, all I can say is we're not perfect. We're not expected to be perfect. Madiba was not perfect. He was certainly an authentic man that led by principles. And just really, I wanted to give some really good takeouts from an authentic leadership. What is an authentic leader? Because kind of what is this thing that we talk about? And maybe this will guide us all. And that is about being somebody with integrity, someone that's honest, reliable, consistent. Can you hear the same kind of trustworthy words keep coming through? And the key thing is reliability. And you know, if you're consistent, you don't have to be completely high, you don't have to be completely low, you have to be the middle of the range. But the big thing is be consistent. We're going to make mistakes as leaders, but each and every one of us are leaders. Whether you are heading up a local fraternity in a church group, whether you are heading up in a mosque environment, whether you are leading a school group, whether you are leading, you know, a large corporate, whether you're leading a country for that matter, whether you're leading a department, a government department, you are a leader. And so you're not just an employee here, you're not just a cashier in, you know, in a Pick and Pay or a ShopRite Checkers or whatever it might be. You are a leader, because we need leadership right now. And those principles of honesty, integrity is what we will all need to guide our countries and guide Africa in moving forward. We really have the time now. As our previous speaker said, you know, KK, thank you for reminding everybody, now is our time. I know we always talk about Africa's time, but really, if we think about it, right now, we've got so much. We are so rich in value. Our people are the most incredible people. We've got what it takes to really position ourselves. And this is our time that we need to do our scenario planning, our preparation. The biggest thing I find that we don't do enough of is in Africa, and that is our forward planning. We need to be able to communicate better within ourselves. We need to build up trust amongst each other more. So how do we do that? Well, the only way we're going to do that is by communicating, engaging more. And we do that very well through Ubuntu, but we've lost that. A lot of the trust has been dropped. We've got a huge deficit of trust. But I must say, what I saw in the last couple of weeks within South Africa particularly was how we came together as government, local community, and as well as business came together in a very strong way. So that takes leadership. That takes people on the ground, the community leaders led. And that's what we need from each and every one of us. So keep doing it. Keep doing it. Never, ever give up. And I know some days are hard. I know that. Each and every one of us, we get up, we shake ourselves off, and we make it happen. And you know, that's exactly what Madiba did. You know, if we sit quietly and just think for 2 seconds, how long 27 years was. 27 years, not minutes, not months, years, a long, long time. So if we think about how much he gave up for us and how much we've learned from him, all we need to do is take some of those nuggets out of what he's been able to do, sit quietly and say, what do I do best? What are my shortfalls? Where can I improve? And you have to make the example. We can't change the world. I can't change the world. You can't change it. None of us on this platform can, but we can lead by example. That's what we can do. We can lead by example and others will naturally follow. But if we don't lead with distinction, how do we expect everybody else to do it? So it starts with us. It starts with me. It starts with me leading with honesty and integrity in what I do. So I have to forward plan better. I have to do preparation work better, which is like even the speaking engagement, for example. What do I need to prepare beforehand? When I'm working with societies, when I'm working in communities, know your audience. And the key takeout is what I would say is when we get into crisis situations, be calm. Unfortunately, we find that in Africa, we're pretty fiery. And I think South Africans, we're also pretty fiery. And I think the key thing is we've got to learn to position ourselves in the middle of that tornado. Position yourself that you're standing in the middle of this tornado and be calm. And when you can think like an octopus, I always use this analogy, and you can stand calmly in the center of this tornado and look around you at a full 360 and look at all the eventualities in line with your scenario plans, prepare to the very best of your ability, prepare your messaging, preparing what you're going to say, who you're going to say it to, how you're going to say it, when you're going to say it. It's so important. Then you've done your preparation work. And the other side of it is listen. Often, unfortunately, in crisis situations, there's a lot of talking. A lot of talking and not enough listening. And we need to listen to each other. We knew before the last unfortunate situation that we've just gone through in South Africa, and which has just happened in Tunisia, it happened recently in Haiti, it's happened in France recently, in Italy, and unfortunately we're seeing these uprisings more and more because people need to be heard. We need our people to be heard. So let's listen to people, give them their voice, listen and solve the issues quickly. We need to be deliverers. Yes, we can talk. Yes, we can talk with people. We can hear people, but please, we also need to be doers. So we're great talkers, but we have to be the doers and the implementers as well. And yes, it does take a lot of work. It does take a lot of rolling up sleeves. It takes a lot of effort, and we have to do that. And sometimes we're going to have to take off the fancy outfits and roll up our sleeves, get dirty, cut the fingernails short, and get in there and muck in and just do it. And you know what? The greatest sense of satisfaction is going to come from us being able to look back in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, like in what Rwanda has been able to do as well, and say, well done, well done. Just as we have achieved amazing things in South Africa, as well as amazing things in Africa and currently, and even in Ghana, some phenomenal successes. Let's focus on the successes. We are still focusing too much on the negative, instead of looking at the grace and the gift that has been given to us of this incredible Africa. The other side of it is if you're not a spokesperson and you find that if your business or if in an environment there is a crisis situation, choose someone that's around you that's a strong spokesperson. Then please, let's go through media training. Sit the person down, make sure that they've got proper training. Let's make sure that they've got their key messages, they're prepared beforehand, and they're not just thrust into a situation. Make sure that you've got the right spokesperson to speak to the right audience at the right time. That's very important. Speak with people in their right language so that there's no break in communication and people are understood in a respectful manner. You know, I've always said, if we go into communities that you don't, it's not your first language, get an interpreter. It's okay, it might take longer, but let's get those messages across so that people are respected at all levels of society. We've kind of forgotten a lot of this. Yes, it takes longer. Please respect where we can. And where we don't do that, you'll find that's where we actually are ignored because people want to be respected. All of us want to be respected. So, you know, at the end of the day, I think Madiba, taught us so much the way he walked into a room. He used to walk down those corridors and greet everybody at those functions. I don't know if you all remember, he used to come into the rooms. He used to greet from the porter to the receptionist it was beautiful. And many people to this day remember those beautiful moments of shaking his hand. And they never ever thought they'd shake a president's hand. And that's what it means by don't be above somebody else. Don't think that when you get into fancy positions, you've got fancy titles, you're not above anybody else. We're with society. We are still with society at all levels. So don't differentiate yourself from anybody else. Yes, you might have an more important leadership role, and I think that's where we're going to get onto the servant leadership soon. But the key thing is humble yourself to be able to be suitable, to be able to be reached out to. If people see you too above other people, remember they won't hear you. And that's a difficult one. I know it's a difficult one because you've worked so hard to get to that position. But when you know that people hear you, it's when people can connect with you and they can understand you at different levels of society. The other one that I really find that I've learned, that I've really learned from Madiba over a period of time, and that is measure your success of your community communication. So wherever Madiba went, he used to measure to get the feedback from the sporting community, from the Afrikaans community, from the Indian community. Ask the communities, what did you think about that? Did that land? What did you ask people? Don't be afraid of the feedback. And I think that's about, don't worry about the failure. You're not always going to be perfect. So listen to the messages, make sure that it's landed with that particular audience, go back and redo it, and constantly repeat that. There's an interesting fact that an advert can only be really taken in or absorbed or appreciated after it's seen 4 times. So the same thing goes with a message. So when I say, for example, today where I'm mentioning these 5 tactics of being able to manage situations throughout a crisis, just remember something, that not everybody's going to take all 5 messages in, but I would have to repeat myself 4 times for it really to land. It's okay. We need to repeat things to a community. We need to repeat things in the market, in a radio interview, TV interview, or when you're speaking to your particular employees. Remember, you need to repeat it at different stages. The other side of it, just in closing, and that is, remember something that's very important, is to make sure that you speak on 3 different platforms. People absorb communication in a crisis, particularly on 3 different platforms. Some people read things exceptionally well, so they will read and read and read. Other people will be audible, and the other one will be visual. So make sure whenever you're in a crisis, make sure you're reaching those communities with those 3 levels of different kinds of communication. Speak slowly, speak succinctly, and be humble. Speak with the people. And when people feel your heart, and it's not even too well rehearsed, speak from your heart and your passion, I promise you, you'll get the leadership with you. So just really in closing, and I know we're all going to talk about Madiba a little bit later, but one of the most amazing things that got me through this last month, and having been through COVID myself, was one thing is, don't judge me by my successes. Just judge me by the amount of times that I fell down, and I've fallen down many times. I really have. And how many times I've got up. I've had people to inspire me. I've had people to hold my hand through that journey. And I really believe that Madiba still holds us our hand today to rise above all adversity in Africa. So bless you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Janine. You are quite right. There certainly is something about that handshake from Nelson Mandela. No one has ever been shaken by that hand and has ever come out being the same. There's something that fundamentally changed each of us after that handshake. So well done on picking that up, because that was quite remarkable. Mandela, he was really a people's person, as you have alluded to. Thank you very much for sharing on what it means to be an authentic leader. And we can also see the passion in yourself when you are speaking about this subject. I call you the queen of authentic leadership. Thank you so much for that input. Thank you, Janine. Ladies and gentlemen,